Hello, this is Insane Monster, and this is part 2 of What If Asta was the son of Igneel. Now, when we left off, Noelle was looking down at Asta and the others, surprised that Asta was in the Black Bulls. Uh, but we speed ahead to where Asta gets his room, and he just doesn't care if it's all messy. He just goes straight to sleep. In the morning, he sees that there's a pillar in front of his door and finds out that the Black Bull's hideout just shifts around whenever. So, as usual, the tour happens and they run into Noelle, but things go a little different. Noelle says, "So you're in this squad too?" Asta looks at her for a second and recognizes her scent, saying, "Hey, you're that girl that almost got fried by that stray fireball like 2 years ago, right?" She says, "Yes, the name is Noelle Silva. Remember it." He says, "Okay." Yeah, he's kind of chilled and relaxed. But they chat a little bit, introducing one another, and Magna pops in saying, "Hey, we still need to finish the tour." Noelle gets a little bit mad, but her and Magna end up squabbling, and the same thing still happens when, as she fires a magic ball of water, it doesn't hit her target, and she says she's quitting the Black Bulls. A little bit forward, and Asta's looking around, seeing what happened to her, and when he finds that she's practicing her magic. But when Asta accidentally steps on a stick and she notices the cracking sound, she starts to freak out, worried about what happened with her family would happen again with him, and her magic just went crazy wild. And as usual, he got blasted away a bit right in front of the Black Bulls as they were coming out to see what was going on. They were discussing what to do about it. Asta just gets up and says, "I'll take care of it. Just give me a minute." He begins to sprout his wings, which surprises all the other Black Bulls since it was the first time they were seeing him do this. He just soars right up to the water ball, pulling out the Demon Slayer sword and dispelling the water ball. As Noelle fell, he hurried up and snatched her and just flew down, letting her down easy. Noelle was just preparing herself to get ridiculed again, like her family always did to her, but Asta just kneeled down and said, "That was some pretty incredible power. Honestly, if you could learn how to harness that, you'd probably be unstoppable." She's surprised by this, and the Black Bulls step in saying, well, the same things they said in canon, saying that you just can't control your magic. That's not a really big deal, especially with us. The Black Bulls are full of rejects, so you'll just fit in fine. And Vanessa gives her back her robe and everything. Speed it up a little bit, and we have where Asta learns that they are really in the red when it comes to the stars. Like when he sees how many negative stars they have, he's like, "How do you get negative stars, and how did you get this far into the red? Seriously." Then he just kind of hits his head against the wall once, thinking, "I really, really have my work cut out for me, don't I? Oh, this is going to be hell." So With Yami and Magna leaving, they come back, but with their pants no longer with them, along with their, well, everything else but their robes and grimoires. Of course, same thing happens, though, when Asta's feeding the beasts. The beasts are a lot more calm. Kind of like a loyal dog and its master. Which surprises Noelle, considering how ferocious these things tend to be with other people. Well, they walk in and they tell him about the mission. The same kind of discussion happens, and they just decide, whatever, if it would get us, if it's a mission, well, we'll just do it. Unlike in canon, Austin just sprouts his wings and goes, while Noelle ends up flying on the crazy cyclone with Magna, though with strong protest on how, with her saying how ridiculous it looks. They get there a bit early since Magna doesn't have to carry so much weight on his broom. So they get there a bit earlier and ended up dealing with the boars a lot faster with Asta's incredible speed and power, just wrecking them completely. But then there was an updraft wind out of nowheres coming from the village up to the hill where they were, which is when Asta suddenly had a hint of the smell of human blood. He said, "Noelle, Magna, we have to go now. We have to head to the village." He just hurries up and grabs Noelle and Magna, sprouting his wings, flying to the village while they're saying, "What's going on? What? Let me go." But he says, I smell blood coming from the village. Something's wrong. Magna says, "Then hurry up and step on it." Right. Asta just uses his dragon powers to blast fire from his feet to get them there faster. Once they arrive at the entrance, the fog already encases the village. Without hesitation, Asta uses his sword and starts hacking and slashing the mist. When they get there, they see an old man fighting off a wizard using ice. When the ice wizard's about to do the final blow, Asta blitzes in, punching him with a fire dragon fist. Sorry. Magna hurries up to the old man, who's the village chief, saying, "Old man, you okay?" The old man just coughing up a little blood, saying, "You're here." Asta uses his grimoire, and says, "Fire dragon healing magic. Fire dragon's healing embrace." And a figure of a dragon made of fire emerges and wraps its wings around the village chief, making a sort of dome, healing him. The ice mage gets up, winded from the hit, saying, "Kill them. We're on a schedule and we need to hurry." Asta hears this and hurries up right to them, but they ended up firing a whole bunch of ice swords. Asta hurries up and blows his fire dragon breath and melts them. But then they start using the fog and the ice magic together to go at all angles. With Asta using his fire dragon breath and his sword, they hit the ice away, along with Magna with his fire explosive spells. But it's making it hard with all the crystals coming at them from all directions while protecting so many people. Like in canon, Noelle starts to panic and sees that maybe she should run away. She's only holding them back. But then the little girl grabs her, and like in canon, she gets her sea dragon's lair. Also surprised by this, thinking, sea dragon's lair? Well, I can sense that she's a good person, but crap! Then he just goes back to hitting the ice. But with the barrier up, protecting the villagers, he flies directly towards them, having more and more ice thrown at him. So he just starts to heat up his body to melt the ice on impact. But these were just small shards. The moment he got close enough, he got hit with a big ice pillar, just trying to stab right through him. He was able to. He was able to. He was able to pull his wings back in and grow his scales over the impact surface fast enough to protect himself. Then he just starts shattering the ice, going straight for them. Unfortunately, the mist magic user used his magic to create an illusion of some of them to throw him off. Asta was getting really pissed at this and just went throwing fire everywhere at them to see which ones hit and which ones didn't, until he got rid of all the illusions. Though fighting around like this made them on the opposite side of the bad guys. While they were focusing on Asta, Magna hurries up and throws his fire magic right at them. But unfortunately, they were able to block most of them, with others going straight for Asta. Then Asta just grins, taking his sword and smacking the spell with the flat of the blade, sending it back like in cannon, hitting them and binding them. Unfortunately, one of them did get away. Like in canon, but a little bit different, the villains did commit the suicide thing so that they wouldn't get information from them. But in this one, the village chief ended up living thanks to Asta's healing magic, which did surprise Magna, because he didn't think that such a powerful attack mage could use healing magic too. Then with that, Nero flies in and starts pecking at Asta with the stone. Unlike in the canon, Asta's body's a lot more resilient, so it hurts him less, but it does annoy him. Then he sees that the crystal or magic stone is in Nero's mouth, and he goes to grab it from him, but the village chief just says, "It's fine. Consider it thanks for helping us out. It was a good luck charm anyways, so it could be useful for you a lot more than me." So Asa just ends up taking the stone. Then we transition to the guy who got away from the attack, reporting to their leader. When he reports that there was some strange kid with red hair and who grew out these weird wings and scales, along with a big sword, that he described the shape to him, and he said, interesting. So he is here, still alive, huh? He was just an infant when I saw him last, and he has the sword. I wonder, how did that happen? Fate? Either way, we'll need to take him. Having him on our side will prove beneficial, along with that sword. And if you've seen the anime, you know who this guy is. Though the guy who's reporting to him doesn't understand who this kid actually is, he's just saying, what is Master talking about? And we transition back to the Black Bull's hideout, where they find out that the Wizard King gave them a star. Then some talks happen, and they get their payments. Unlike last time, they don't complain about the chief's death since he didn't die in this one. And Vanessa says that they should go shopping with the money that they just got. They agree and head out. Obviously, they go back to the black market where things happen kind of like normal. Asta isn't really looking for anything specific, more like window shopping. But Noelle does still get her wand and everything. And Seke still runs into them, thinking, "Oh man, it's that crazy guy from the entrance exam that blew away that water mage royal." And like in canon, his money gets stolen. Though, instead of chasing them down, Asta just hurries up and flies straight at him. And was able to use his sword to get rid of his cloud before he even made it out of the market. Pinning him down and getting the money back to the old woman who was indeed the Wizard King. Sorry if you haven't watched it yet, so whatever. If you haven't seen this part, then you probably haven't really watched Black Clover in the first place. So after they leave and everything, they don't really sense that this is the Wizard King because, well, he seems to be very good at disguises for some reason. Not sure why or how, but whatever. Next, he does say, "How interesting, being able to sprout wings like that. And that strange black flame sword. Did it just destroy that mage's magic? I wonder what exactly that thing is." Though, and, well, we switch over to Yuno and his mission, which goes a little bit more smoothly. He takes out two of the mages that attacked him on the way when escorting the noble that he beat from the entrance exam. Because, for this reason, after getting the lacrima from Asta that has the power of the Sky Dragon, and Meliona getting one of the Sun Dragon, later on, after they got it, they did use it just in case. They thought a little added power would be pretty good. Not to mention, being a member of the dragon race could be beneficial, considering their legendary power. Though nothing malicious or anything like that with the power. Asta has a good knack of telling what people are like in this what if. Next, we have the dungeon arc. Like normal, Asta, Noelle, and Luck go on the mission, as do the same characters from the Golden Dawn. They enter, but something different happens. When they enter, Asta can smell that there already is some people here that when he tells Luck, he's excited, saying, "Really?" So instead of setting off the traps, he just uses his incredible ability to sense mana and bolts right to them. Obviously, Asta is like, "What? Where are you going?" And just sighs. Noelle accidentally steps on a trap when she's looking around after being mesmerized by how the dungeon looks with everything being distorted by the seer mana in it. But Asta was able to dispel it. But so every time they activated the trap, Asta just hurried up and dispelled it. And when the plant one came up, he hurried up and got rid of that one too. But it was also right after that the Golden Dawn showed up. Klaus had heard about two nobles, not nobles, royals joining the Black Bulls. And he was a little bit more respectful, but not that much considering they're in the Black Bulls. But Mimosa stepped up to Asta and said, I didn't get the thank you 2 years ago, but thank you for saving me from that fireball. Asta takes a whiff, but not like lean up to her or anything like that. He can smell that it's the other girl that he saved. Oh, and says, oh, you're the other girl that almost got hit by the fireball too, weren't you? She replies with a yes and introduces herself as Mimosa Vermilion. We never did actually meet, did we? Asa just kind of smiles and says no. And before they left, Asa tells them that there are other people here besides us. Then they're probably from the Diamond Kingdom. We'll go after our other teammate who went on ahead. You do whatever, I guess. Asta is, like I said, a little bit more laid back and can talk to people a little bit more easier than in canon. At least nobles and royals and stuff. So, in canon, Luck gets trapped, but is freed by Asta from the smoke magic. However, since Asta has a bunch of magic, it makes it harder for them to fight the smoke guy. But Asta just says, I've had enough with this crap. And he just begins and fires a fire dragon breath from one side all the way around until he actually hits him. Once he hears him scream from getting burnt, he bolts right to the smoke mage and nails him with the Demon Slayer sword. Back with the Golden Dawn, Yuno is able to put up a better fight using some of the Dragon Slayer magic that he has from using the Lacrima, but still goes similar to canon, where Asta ends up helping him and saying, sorry, but you're not messing with him or any of the others. Mars does get pissed at this and just starts attacking, though Asta is able to deal with him a little bit easier since he can fly, which frickin' freaks out Mimosa and Klaus after they see this. But Asta does deal with him a lot easier in this, slamming him right into the ground with the Demon Slayer sword. After that, and they binded him, Asta again asks if that's going to be enough to hold this guy. And Klaus says, of course, I'm a member of the Golden Dawn, so don't underestimate me. Like in canon, Asta does open up the door with his Slayer sword easily. And they do go through all of the stuff inside the dungeon treasure vault, and Asta just looks around with Nero pecking at him, and Asta just, get over here so I can cook you. But is led to that golden circle mark on the wall where Nero lands on. But like in canon, Mars gets free and starts attacking. He hits Noelle, which makes Asta pissed. He goes to protect him once he starts firing those spinning blades. As he says, you're powerful, I'll give you that. But it doesn't matter if you're too busy protecting someone else, now does it? Asta hits and hits and hits as best as he can with his scales covering his body to make sure he doesn't get killed if he misses one. But eventually he starts to get overwhelmed protecting Noelle and Mimosa, who's healing her, and gets blown back into the wall like in Cannon. When he gets up, he says, "Damn it, I can't let them die. I won't let them die." And he sees Nera flying past him, landing on the second sword, the Demon Dweller sword. He says, "That might work." He grabs it, and then it becomes engulfed in black flames like the other sword. But something else happens. Thoughts run through his mind. I can't let them die. I can't let them die. And his body begins covering itself in flames. And when Mars uses that giant sword again to attack Noelle and Mimosa, but Asta just soars right to him, hitting it with the fire. The fire sword, I guess. The black fire sword. I'm sorry, I'm a little tired and a little sick, so. Asta says, "You're not touching any of them." And everybody is just seeing Asta, covered in scales with his wings flaring. And they're just looking at him, saying, "What the hell?" And if you're thinking about what it looks visually, about the same thing that you're seeing in the picture for this video. About the same. Though the scarf that he wears, that he got from the thing, in the bag from his dad and mom, his biological parents, is the scales on it burst with spikes. So, spike scale look kind of thing. So, he starts fighting again like usual. And Noelle says, you can do this. You can beat him." And like in Canon, her magic flows into the Demon Dweller sword. Asta's wondering, what is this? He just says, "Alright, let's try it." And then he just swings the Demon Dweller sword, launching a attack of water right at Mars, breaking the crystal. But this time there are traces of the black flames going with it, hitting Mars and knocking him out. The dungeon's starting to collapse after that. But Mars tries once again while Asta is distracted going to help Noelle. And he uses the giant crystal sword to go right at him, which is when Yuno activates his spell with the wind spirit Sylph. Well, not intentionally, but you know how it works. And shatters it. Asta says, "Thanks, man." And he just starts firing small fireballs to break the others out of the crystals. After that, Yuno hurries up and makes his arc to get him out of there. But Asta grabs hold of Mars and his grimoire and when he's about to fly away, he spots the Diamond Kingdom mages packing up that steam smoker thing with treasure, and he just says, "Don't have time for this," and he just throws Mars right into their little cart. The smoke guy looks over to where Mars flew from and sees Asta looking at him, but he just turns away and flies. The black smoke guy thinking, looks like he's not a bad kid. His name was Asta, right? Though, I wouldn't want to face him again, considering the broken arm he gave me. Unlike in Canon, Asta helps out with destroying the debris as they're trying to get out of the cave, the dungeon and everything, while everything just falls on them, trying to crush them. They were able to get out in time, and they had a good laugh, glad that they got out of that. And, well, I want to say, like in Canon, Klaus accepts Yuno, even though that he's a commoner, but since he doesn't know Asta really isn't a royal by blood, he already kind of accepted him for his role and all that. As the Black Bulls were going home, Asta pulled Noelle to the side, as he could tell something was bothering her. He asked what it was, and Noelle just said, "I'm defenseless. I'm completely useless. I can't even fight. All I can do is defend. How am I supposed to do anything when all I can do is protect myself and so little people?" Asta looks at her, thinking, she is a good person, and I think I can trust her. He uses his grimoire to pull out the dragon jar like before in the past. What if episode of, I think it was part 1, yeah, and he takes out a sea dragon lacrima. He tells Noelle about his dad, but not his mom, like how Leona told him not to tell anybody about the elf side. She finds this surprising, but not as much as she would have if she never saw the transformation he just did. Asta tells her that this could help you be able to control your magic better. I'm not sure to what degree, but you should be able to defend yourself properly. Noelle takes it and says thank you. As they go back, they just go and rest after an exhausting day of fighting Diamond Kingdom mages and having a dungeon collapse on top of their heads. And yes, Noelle does take the dragon lacrima into her body, though it will take some time for her to fully, or at least for it to develop to a point where she starts to get dragon traits like everybody else. Now, as for well, this is the end of the what if, but for now I'm going to describe the parts that helped Asta push to his new form. First was fighting a powerful opponent that challenged him, and second, it was being in an area with a large amount of mana. Those are two things that will help evolve the dragon state, as well as strong feelings, and if I remember correctly, I think it's also life-threatening danger, because that can also increase the process of the dragon transformation. Please remember to like, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up and all that, and remember to comment. See ya.